Then he made this earth habitable for human beings. It took millenniums, who knows. When the water was ready, the oxygen was there, we had all the animals, the plants, the fruits. Now is the time for a human being to survive on this planet. Adam alayhi salam comes, then his children. Then they expand on this earth. From where they were, wherever they started, then they expand and they then populate the entire globe, the habitable areas of this earth. All that was done for a reason. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that وَمَا خَلَقْنَا الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. We did not create the jinn or human beings except that they would worship for me. In that, if you expand that, you have to realize that you have to now do the work of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He wanted to be introduced to his creation. He wanted to be known. So he created man so that man can talk about his creator, talk about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and in so doing also take care of his creation. So we are supposed to take care of things that are on the planet, that are placed around us, including our families, our neighbors, communities we live in, cities we dwell in, and whosoever is under our control or under our jurisdiction in terms of employment or earning livelihood or whatever. All of that we have to do with compassion and with love, and we do it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Regardless of how much money you make during your life, you end up leaving it here. I heard the other day about Adnan Khashoggi, that used to be an arms dealer from Saudi Arabia. I did not follow his story much, but in the beginning, when he was coming up in life, I remember reading about him. He was the arms dealer that made the sales of deal possible to Saudi Arabia from America. So even if you charge 1% or 10% of the sales deal, when it's in trillions, you become rich instantaneously. The reason I just remembered and thought about him was that I heard that when he passed on, he was penniless. He had nothing, no family, nothing close to him, and he just was absolutely destitute for a long time. Not that it just happened because somebody stole anything, no. The last few years of his life were miserable. Although he was multi-billionaire, when he had his wedding of one of his children, I forgot how many children he had, but one of them, we know that all the heads of states were invited. People got gifts that were each was $1 million or more. He had so many yachts, so many airplanes, and he had castles everywhere, I mean, in bigger cities of the world. And yet, it was taken away from him without really much spending of much time. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives, and he can take it away also. The best way to live your life is to realize that you are here and whatever is given to you is not necessarily something that you deserve, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given it to you so that you can take care of the people that are around you or take care of the things that you must take care of. And in so doing, you get more and more, and you get pleasure and happiness also. But if you just live for yourself only and become greedy and do not do the work of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then obviously you have not realized the purpose of your life. Now, each one of us is born with different talents. No two people are exactly the same in terms of their capabilities and talents and all that. Even the twin brothers and twin sisters have certain things that are unique to them, that may be in their nature, that may be in their memories or whatever, but there is a difference. Even the fingerprints here, these lines on our fingers, are so unique for each one of us that we cannot hide. Our identity is known to him. So we cannot basically say that I did this, that, and the other, and get away with it without being sure and true about it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has, mashallah, created human being in the best of form, and when he says that I then put him in the lowest of the low, means now he's testing you, putting you on ground zero. Oh human being, you are born now, you are an adult now. Try to realize who you are, try to connect to me, and more closer you come to me, more higher in ranks you will be. And when you are that close to me, that now you are actually doing what I ask you to do immediately, then you are actually doing my work. You become the feet with my feet with which you walk, my hands with which you turn. This is in Al-Quran. So you know that humans have that ability also. Khizr al-Islam, he could be here now, who knows? He has that ability to be wherever he is needed, does whatever he has to do, and then he minds his own business. The final point I want to make is that we as human beings should realize that we are given only a little bit of knowledge. We are reading Al-Quran, we think we understand it, and there may be deeper meanings, further deeper meanings of those verses that we are reciting. Always leave room for other people to do it better. Always say that, to my understanding, this is the best meaning that I can derive from this verse, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. I say this because listen to the Yusuf al-Islam's story. When he gets a dream and tells his father that I see that 11 stars and moon and sun are bowing down to me, his father Yaqub al-Islam tells him, don't tell it to your brothers because the shaitan is the worst enemy of human beings. Brothers get jealous, they try to kill him, they put him in the well. He's taken out of the well, some caravan people buy him, they sell him into a market in wherever they went, in Egypt or wherever at that time. And then he was raised in the house of a minister, and he was put in prison for 10 years or more. I bring this story up to see that Yusuf al-Islam knows that he's Payghambar of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but he's not allowed to communicate with his father by Allah's design. His father Yaqub al-Islam in his heart knows that his son is alive because he cannot accept the story that his other sons had told them, that he has been eaten by a wolf. And yet, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not reveal him where Yusuf al-Islam is. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have done whatever was necessary, but didn't do it. And then another story. When finally Yusuf al-Islam gets the divine permission to meet his family, and his brothers are told that, Yusuf is their brother, and he gives them his shirt to take to your dad, to your father, put that shirt on his eyes so that he can see, because his father Yaqub al-Islam was at that time unable to see. And that inability to see was for some time, not sudden, but some time that he had been blind, so to speak. And yet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala kept him blind that way. And now Yusuf al-Islam, instead of praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, give vision to my father, he sends this shirt. Put the shirt on his eyes. Now you can get science from anywhere you want. There is nothing scientific about this, that you put some clothes on somebody's eyes and he can see. Physicians, doctors, ophthalmologists cannot explain it. Yet it happened, and it's in Al-Quran. We cannot deny it. With the point I am making is, we may think we know what goes on in this world, but a whole lot goes on that we may not understand. The point to remember is not to deny it. Simply because we can't understand does not mean it's not true. So many things are happening in this world that we may not be able to understand today. But if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has designed this universe in such a way, then we should understand. Final point, very delicate point. We are all afraid of shirk. We don't want to assign any divine power to a human being. And yet we don't know what we are doing. Because it's not easy. If I believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I know shirk is an unforgivable sin, why would I do it? And yet I may come up and tell you that I met Khizr al-Islam yesterday, and he told me this and this and this and this, you will suddenly say that, how could I be true? How could this be true? This can't be. So suddenly you'll say, oh, he thinks, he can see, he can meet. That only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows. You can't do it. I was shocked when I heard that some Islamic scholars even think that reciting this takbir is a bid'ah or something that shouldn't be done. Why? Because our beloved Prophet didn't do it and his followers didn't do it. This is our limited understanding, and we limit our capabilities, we limit ourselves for fear of shirk, and then we feel comfortable that we are not doing shirk, but you are denying yourself a whole lot of the world that exists all around us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the broader vision so that we can realize that humans are actually Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's khalifas. They have superpowers within them if they are really close to Allah. If they are truly mu'mineen, that they can do things unbelievable. Their shirts can do that. Never mind them themselves. So human beings do have that potential. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala